Imagine this. People live under the earth in a cave-like dwelling. Stretching a long way up towards the daylight is its entrance, towards which the entire cave is gathered. The people have been in this dwelling since childhood, shackled by the legs and neck. Thus they stay in the same place, so that there is only one thing for them to look at, whatever they encounter in front of their faces. But because they are shackled, they are unable to turn their heads around. Sunlight, of course, is allowed them, namely from a fire that casts its glow towards them from behind them, from above, and at some distance. Between the fire and those who are shackled, meaning behind their backs, there runs a walkway at a certain height. Imagine that a low wall has been built the length of the walkway, like the low curtain that puppeteers put up, over which they show their puppets. So now imagine that all along this low wall, people are carrying all sorts of things that reach up, higher than the wall. Statues and other carvings made of stone or wood, and many other artifacts that people have made. As you would expect, some are talking to each other as they walk along, and some are silent.
This is an unusual picture that you are presenting here, and these are unusual prisoners.
They are very much like us humans, I respond. What do you think? From the beginning, people like this have never managed, whether on their own or with the help by others, to see anything besides the shadows that are continually projected on the wall opposite them by the glow of the fire.
How could it be otherwise, since they are forced to keep their heads immobile for their entire lives?
And what do they see of the things that are being carried along behind them? Do they not simply see these?
Certainly.
Now, if they were able to say something about what they saw and to talk it over, do you not think that they would regard that which they saw on the wall as beings?
They would have to.
And now what if this prison also had an echo reverberating off the wall in front of them, the one that they are always and only looking at? Whenever one of the people walking behind those in chains and carrying the things would make a sound, do you think the prisoners would imagine that the speaker were anyone other than the shadow passing by in front of them?
Nothing else, by Zeus.
All in all, I responded, those who were chained would consider nothing besides the shadows of the artifacts as the unhidden.
That would absolutely have to be.
So now, I replied that the process whereby the prisoners are set from their chains, and along with that cured of their lack of insight, and likewise consider what kind of lack of insight must be if the following were to happen to those who were chained. Whenever any of them was unchained and forced to stand up suddenly, to turn around, to walk, and to look up toward the light in these case, the person would be able to do this only with pain, and because of the flickering brightness, would be unable to look at those things whose shadow he previously saw. If all of this were to happen to the prisoner, what do you think he would say if someone were to inform him that what he saw before were mere trifles, but that now he was much nearer to being, and that, as a consequence of now being turned towards what is more in being, he also saw more correctly? And if someone were then to show him any of the things that were passing by, and forced him to answer the question about what it was, don't you think that he would be at wit's end? In addition, would consider that which he saw previously with his own eyes was more unhidden than that which was being shown to him by someone else.
Yes, absolutely.
And if someone even forced him to look back into the glare of the fire, would his eyes not hurt him, and would he not then turn away and flee back to that which he is capable of looking at? That what he could see before without any help was in fact clearer than that which was now being shown to him.
Precisely.
Now, however, if someone using force were to pull him, who had been freed from his chains, away from there, and to drag him up the cave's rough and steep ascent, and not to let go of him until he had dragged him out of the light of the sun, would not the one who had been dragged like this feel in the process pain and rage? And when he got into the sunlight, wouldn't his eyes be filled with the glare? And wouldn't he be unable to see any of the things that are now revealed to him as the unhidden?
He would not be able to do that at all, at least not right away.
It would obviously take some getting accustomed, I think. if it should be a matter of taking into one's eyes that which is up there outside the cave in the light of the sun. And in this process of acclimatization, he would first and most easily be able to look at, first of all, the shadows, and after that, the images of people and the rest of things as they are reflected in water. Later, however, he would be able to view the things themselves, the beings, instead of the dim reflections. But within the range of such things, he might well contemplate that there is in the heavenly dome, and this dome itself, more easily during the night, by looking at the light of the stars and the moon, more easily, that is to say, than by looking at the sun and its glare during the day.
Certainly.
But I think that finally he would be in the condition to look at the sun itself, not just at its reflection, whether in water or wherever else it might appear, but at the sun itself, as it is in and of itself, and in the proper place to it, and to contemplate of what sort it is.
It would necessarily happen this way.
And having done all that, by this time he would also be able to gather the following about the sun. First, that it is that which grants both the seasons and the years. Second, it is that which governs whatever there is in the now visible region of sunlight. And third, that it is also the cause of all those things that the people dwelling in the cave have before their eyes in some way or other.
It is obvious that he would get to these things, the sun and whatever stands in its light, after he had gone out beyond those previous things, the merely reflections and shadows.
And then what? If he again recalled his first dwelling, and the knowing that passes as the norm there, and the people with whom he was once chained, don't you think he would consider himself lucky because of the transformation that had happened, and by contrast feel sorry for them?
Very much so.
What if among the people in the previous dwelling place, the cave, certain honors and commendations were established for whomever most clearly catches sight of what passes by, and also best remembers which of them normally is brought by first, which one later, and which ones at the same time? And what if there were honors for whoever could most easily foresee which one might come by next, of another destitute peasant? Wouldn't he or she prefer to put up with absolutely anything else rather than associate with those opinions that hold in the cave and be that kind of human being?
I think that he would prefer to endure everything rather than be that kind of human being.
And now, I responded, consider this. If this person who had gotten out of the cave were to go back down again and sit in the same place as before, would he not find in that case, coming suddenly out of the sunlight, that his eyes are filled with darkness?
Yes, very much so.
Now, if once again, along with those who had remained shackled there, the freed person had to engage in the business of asserting and maintaining opinions about the shadows, while his eyes are still weak, and before they have readjusted, an adjustment that would require quite a bit of time, would he not then be exposed to ridicule down there? And would they not let him know that he had gone up, but only in order to come back down into the cave with his eyes ruined, and thus it certainly does not pay to go up? And if they can get hold of this person who takes it in hand to free them from their chains and to lead them up, and if they could kill them, will they not actually kill him?
They certainly will.
The end.